Hi, Lee Phillips here. I'm an attorney and I want to talk to you about why trusts fail. And the fact of the matter is the vast majority of living revocable trusts that everybody gets for their estate planning stuff, they fail. They don't deliver the goods as advertised. They don't work. Why don't they work? Well, to begin with, there was an article quite a while ago in Fortune magazine, and they quoted one of the big-time lawyers, and he said only 1% of American lawyers know how to draw up a good living revocable trust. That's not a good statistic, guys. It doesn't work. So you go down to the average lawyer. Well, y'all know how to tell if a lawyer's lying. Yeah, his lips are moving. That's true. See? They're moving. If you're so good then, do you know what a good dead lawyer does? A good dead lawyer lies still. We're talking about the living revocable trust and death because the living revocable trust is used as a probate avoidance tool. And we're going to have to do another YouTube on what are probate avoidance tools. But you avoid probate with it. That's why you use it. You don't really save any taxes. You don't. You can control. There's some management issues that are good for it because if the guy becomes incompetent, you can have him declared incompetent if the right terms are in the trust, and not have to go to court. And then the successor trustee can manage the assets, so that's an advantage. And I'm not really into advantages of living revocable trusts now. I'm in why you get screwed when you set one up. And the reason is the lawyer never bothers to tell you how the trust works. What's the legal trick of the trust? You have to understand the legal trick of the trust, otherwise the trust fails. And the trick involves moving ownership of your assets into the trust. Your probatable assets have to be owned by the trust. You have to move them out of your ownership into the trust's ownership. And I have YouTubes on how to move the bank account and how to do the real property and all of that sort of stuff. Excuse me, chokes me all up. Because it's a big deal when you have to fund the trust or move the assets into the trust. And the lawyer just kind of never bothers to tell you that. As a result, the trust doesn't work. The family doesn't avoid probate. That's okay. Because in 90+% of the cases, the family is going to come back to the same lawyer who drafted the trust. Now they're going to be hotter than beans because they figured out that they have to go through probate, and this trust that Dad paid $5,000 for isn't going to work. Oh, the trust was okay, but it ain't going to work because Dad didn't understand the legal trick. He didn't make the trust own all of his property. As a result, the trust didn't work, and the family is just steamed when they come back to the other lawyer or to the lawyer. And they say, hey, look, you didn't teach Dad how to use the trust. You didn't tell Dad this trust isn't working. And Dad didn't put the assets into the trust and everything else. It doesn't work. You screwed Dad out of $5,000. And now we got to go through probate. And the lawyer says, okay, just cool off for a minute. And he goes into the file and he gets a letter that he has given Dad when he made the trust out for him. And the letter says that Dad has to move all of the pieces of property over into the trust. Dad didn't really realize that. He's bought a new house. Oh, the lawyer put the house in the trust. But Dad bought a new house and he bought it in his own name. He didn't buy it in the trust's name. And the lawyer has outlined all of this in this letter. And he maybe even had Dad sign a copy of the letter, saying that he received the letter. So the letter with Dad's signature on it is in the file. And the lawyer whips that out and says, no, not my problem. It was your dad's problem. Your dad screwed this up. I will help you out in the probate. I feel bad for you. I'll give you a deal. Yeah, are we going to give you a deal? But he gives him a deal, and then the family says, okay. So in 90% of the cases, the guy got the $5,000 for setting up the trust, and then he gets all the probate too. It's a conflict of interest. It's a double dip. As a result, by far the majority, and I don't know this exact statistic, but I'm going to guess 85-90% of the living revocable trusts, the family go through probate. There are advantages to probate. That's another YouTube. But and we've got lots of YouTubes in case you hadn't figured that out. In fact, I've got a full book on this called Protecting Your Financial Future. And it teaches you how to operate the trust, how to set it up, how to make it work. Avoids taxes, avoids probate, avoids all kinds of things if you do the trust properly. It's a fun read, by the way. It's the story of my neighborhood. And people all the time, they read the book and they say, well, I know who this is. I know who that is. But who's that guy? So it's kind of fun. But in fact, it's been a Time Warner Book of the Month Club book. But at any rate, besides the book, don't get cheated by the lawyer. If you're going to get a living revocable trust, understand the trick, fund the trust, put your assets into the trust. There's another YouTube on funding the trusts. But put the assets into the trust. Make sure you maintain the trust by keeping all of the assets into the trust. You have to think, I've got to live differently. I'm not living as me anymore. I'm living as a living revocable trust. So think, do it right, and the trusts are really actually cool when they work effectively. This is Lee Phillips talking on how you get screwed with a living trust.